It's my original claim to fame, folks. I am an expert on bedwetting. Did my doctoral dissertation on it. Mostly about kids, but why do adults occasionally wet the bed? I'll help you out with this. In children, there are two very clear causes of bedwetting: deficiency of a specific hormone called antidiuretic hormone, and deep sleeping. You have to have both in order to have the bedwetting. Now, I'm talking about a specific kind of bedwetting because there's different kinds as well. But the most common kind, primary nocturnal enuresis, is caused by those two factors, and you have to have both. What about for adults? All right, if you're looking this information up for yourself, it's probably because you've had some incidents, right? Or maybe you know someone who's having some issues. If this is a new thing, that's different from if it's an old thing. One of my clients, and he gave me permission to share this with you, 30 years old, living in Europe and still wetting the bed regularly. Never been dry for a significant period of time. He went through my little coaching program with Finally Dry. You can check that out at finallydry.info, where we have a little ebook. I walked him through the process, and within a couple of months, he was completely through his bedwetting problem. We cured it. It was so awesome. And that really contributed to his confidence and his sense of who he could be. That's one version of a problem. Now, what if you've been dry all these years and now suddenly you're starting to wet the bed? Oh, well, that might be a whole different cause. There are hormonal factors that come with aging or certain health conditions. There are physiological factors that could be involved here with the urological system. There are several different factors that could be involved. Because of that, I think it's really important, if this is a new problem and something that's not a continuation from years and years and years of bedwetting, that you get checked out. Go see a urologist. Visit your family doctor. Let's rule out any chemical or physiological or physical problems that might be contributing to this. That's really important because it might be an indicator that something else is going on. Now, there's this other thing where maybe it's just an occasional thing. It happens here and there, not a lot. Okay, I went to the doctor last week for a problem with my foot. And the doctor said to me, "Well, Paul, people of our age," and I'm like, shut up. I don't want to hear this, right? But the reality of the factor is, as we get older, our body changes. And sometimes things will surprise us. There are all kinds of factors that can contribute to it. But if it's just an occasional thing, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Having said that, we can apply some of what I've learned in training little kids and teenagers and even some young adults. We can apply those factors to training our own brain. So let's say that you've ruled out all of the physiological, health-related factors, still having some occasional problems, or maybe even fairly regular problems, but we're not too worried about other contributing factors. What we want to do is train your brain to respond differently to the signals that are coming from your own body telling you that it's time to take care of business. We can do that through classical conditioning. You've heard of classical conditioning, probably. If you haven't, remember in your psychology class back in high school or even at college where they talked about Pavlov's dogs? Pavlov was this psychologist who trained dogs to salivate at the sound of a bell. What? A bell has nothing to do with a dog salivating until you train it. When you pair the bell with a little puff of meat powder in the dog's mouth, the meat powder does make the dog salivate. When you pair it up enough and practice it over and over again, pretty soon the bell ringing has the dog anticipating the puff of meat powder, and the dog will salivate to the sound of the bell. That was the whole crux of Pavlov's experiment. We can do the same thing to train your brain to respond to the signals that are already coming from within your body, telling you need to take care of business. Now, if you're a deep sleeper, it's a little harder to do that than if you're not. Then we have things like sleepwalking and dreams and other things that contribute as well. I hope that this just gives you a little bit of a context around what's going on here. Probably not a huge problem. Still, any problem with bedwetting is inconvenient and can cause you some problems. So let's handle this in a way that is brain friendly to train your brain to respond differently. It's totally possible. My client in Europe has proven that even at the age of 30, you can overcome a bedwetting problem. And what is that going to do to your confidence, to your life? Pretty cool stuff. I mentioned during the video an ebook. You might want to pick that up. finallydry.info is where you can get that ebook. That training program is tight, it's concise, and it's something that could probably help a lot.
I saw her standing in the street alone.